No. I mean, I should have, because he's kind of done it all year. But, he had that, was slowed down a little with that injury, so. But he's done it all year. I shouldn't be surprised.
Donovan obviously had a big scoring night with 30, but what did you think of the other stuff that he did for you guys?
Yeah, he was on the floor. He was, I think we turned him over 14 times. I felt like he was a part of it, whether he got steals or not, I don't know. Poking, had a couple strips, rebounded the ball. I mean, he's kind of done that all year, right? Whatever we ask him, besides the scoring. That's been his growth area, right? We remember in Utah, teams used to attack him, and he's not that guy. Complete two-way player.
Joe, Reedy.
Reedy.
Kenny, Darius got off to a slow start, but how did you feel like he kind of rebounded and
Yeah,
from there?
yeah. I thought he was a little more patient. I thought in the first half he was almost going too fast, and they're great at, they crowd their paint and they make it, they shrink the court on you. So I thought in the second half he was just more patient, and obviously started hitting his threes. That helps, but little sped up in the first half, but he turned it around. I love how he competed defensively. That's one thing about Darius. Like, I know teams try to pick on him, right? And they bring him into pick and roll. But I thought tonight he was, whether he got on a switch or had to fight Bam in the post, he really guarded tonight. That was a big key for us.
Ash.
With Donovan, I know he was struggling from three early, but it just seemed like he was getting whatever he wanted inside and driving to the basket. Just what was he doing well there tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit. Yeah, he was 0 for 5 to start from three, and I thought he started driving the ball, getting in the paint, playing off two. Using his strength. But second half, he had two huge threes for us. And it's tough. That's why he's a great player. He can do both. He can, get in the lane, bump you, finish, and then and he's a great shooter. Just a complete player.
I mean, along those lines, like the intangibles, like thinking about in the second quarter, he has that little floater where he comes in off the baseline, sprints down, forces a jump ball, like those kind of things. How valuable is that when it's your star player?
Yeah, it's your leader too. You lead by example. He doesn't, he's not the guy in the film room saying, he leads by example. Whatever we ask him to do, he'll do. If we ask him to play box and one on somebody, he'll do it. He never shies from, shies away when we ask him to do the dirty work.
Chris.
Hey, Kenny, for Ty, this was his first ever playoff game. What does it say about him that he's able to do this with that?
He's just got supreme confidence in himself. He's got that, and he's got swagger, right? Like and then he's got the IQ, super high IQ. And so, Bruce is going to talk about the scoring. The play I remember was when he got downhill and made that lefty pocket pass to J.A. for the layup. Obviously, they went zone, and I think he kind of shot him out of the zone, hit 2 threes in the zone. So he did it all tonight. And then, defensively smart, in the right position, turned the game for us.
You mentioned his swagger. How much do you feel like your guys feed off of that from Ty?
They laugh at him, like because he was like this kind of bit player, and he was still doing the swag stuff, and they kind of like, who is this guy? A little bit like, who does this guy think he is? Now it's almost become like a running joke amongst the team, and in a good way, right? Good spirit. Usually, kind of role players off the bench don't have that, but we need that. We had that with George. George was kind of our, fun-loving and he's kind of really taken hold of that piece on this team.
Cam.
You guys talked about this being being a physical game.
Yeah.
Jared Allen, 11 rebounds.
Yeah.
Today. What kind of impact did he have on that physicality factor?
It's great. We're coaches are just saying the same thing. Like he was all over the place. His offensive when he offensive rebounds, seems like we play really well. His presence was great. You know, Bam is so physical, such a good player. So him and Evan had to battle with him all night. Ware too. You know, they play with two bigs too. So Jared's energy was phenomenal.
And then Sam Merrill had 24 minutes. What was kind of the thought process of the playoff minutes, and then what impact did he have in those?
He was just part of that group that was rolling, right? He was in that group with Ty, and normally we subbed him out, but they just went on that run. He hit that big three on the wing. You know, I was ready to sub, and it's like, no, we got to stay with this group, and you know, it gives you floor spacing, and then you know, way underrated defender.
Joe B.
Talked a lot about the really good individual performances you guys had tonight, but what did you think about how the Cavs played collectively game one?
I wouldn't say it was our. I think we played super hard, competitive. I thought we kind of made some unforced errors. Just some, decision making was not elite. And I think they have something to do with that, right? Especially the way they crowd the paint, and then they play the zone, so your decision making's got to be on point. One thing about the Heat, they make you play for 48. I know that's a cliche, but a lot of teams don't. You cannot relax. I think this series, whatever happens, we're going to get so much better playing these guys. Even tonight, I know the score was 20 or whatever, but it was about 6-7 point game there. We just Ty hit some shots, but it's gonna be a battle this series, and that's ton of respect for that team over there.
Nate.
Kenny, you guys are out rebounding them.
Yeah.
Out rebounding them overall, but what did you think of that? And also a follow-up on Evan Mobley didn't have any rebounds in the first half. It was just such an odd stat.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bam is, Olympic champion. Oh, we know his resume, right? I don't go through it. He's a heck of a player, and it's a heck of a challenge. It's a heck of a challenge for Evan and JA. So that's part of it. But we got to be a better defensive rebounding team. We're searching. We're pushing. But again, I thought they. Now, conversely, we offensive rebounded on that, right? That was it. I don't. We got to figure out how to get more of a balance, right? We're still tilted too much on the offensive end. We got to figure out the defensive rebounding piece because, against this team that'll knock you out.
Jason.
As much as you guys played zone and even pulled some parts of Miami zone.
Yeah.
How much does that help you attack their zone?
Not really. I think it was more we were prepared for it. We knew, I knew they were going to come in here, maybe a little fatigued. Usually when you're fatigued, you're like, man, we're going to, I know we do it, play zone when your guys are a little bit tired. So we knew it was coming. It still gave us some issues, right? Especially early. And you know how it is. You get an open shot against the zone, you miss it. I think we missed 2 in a row to start. They come down, they score. It's like, guys can lose confidence. And again, I think Ty kind of, and Sam hit one against his own. But, Spo and those guys, it was great timing when he threw it at us. Luckily, we figured out. But we had time to prepare for it a little bit.
Jim.
Kenny, I'll stick with the theme you said.
Yep.
How old did Darius Garland look today?
Yeah, he played like a 28-year-old. Yeah, just great leadership. Locked in, really good with the referees on the bench. Showed, and his defensive disposition was fantastic. 10 out of 10. That's what we need from him. We know teams are going to bring him into the action. Thought he was great tonight.
If he continues this, what does that do for your team going forward?
mean, when he plays like that, you're close to unbeatable, and when he shoots out, he's that important to us. And he's got to defend like he defended tonight. And like I said, in the second half, I thought it was really, really good offensively.
Ethan.
Coach, obviously knowing that Ty was only in this game for so long, but you understand what he's able to bring on the defensive end as well. When teams are able to attack him and you still stuck with a lineup with Darius and Ty, how does that manage and how does that balance out with their offense?
Yeah, I mean, that was we talked about it on the bench, right? Because we had a lead, and you want to get your best defenders in there. But he was playing so phenomenal. We just had to keep him in. Ty's bigger than you think. 6'5", 6'6", and he's so smart. Get blown by. Sometimes it happens, but he's always in the right spot. Gets steals and big rebounds. So we're not like afraid. Oh man, we got to get Ty out. It's just sometimes we have better defenders on the bench. So we're going to play that game the rest of the playoffs. And you're going to say, why didn't we play this guy? How come this guy didn't come in? Tonight it was his turn. Next game it'll be somebody else.
Knowing that Evan had 0 rebounds in that first half, as Nate mentioned earlier, was there a message to get him to have 7 rebounds in that second half from somebody?
No, I mean we just talked about it at halftime. Like that was we don't try to give him too much noise, right? And that was we got to rebound better. We got to Evans. These guys are so coachable. He's so coachable. He understood he had to pick up his physicality. And the assistant coaches are individually in guys' ears, as they come out. So we have our team message, but I'm sure they hit him on it and better job in the second half.